Alright, so in this video we are going to go over the top 5 holdings that make up the average percentage of my investments portfolio. So let's just jump right into this video. If you are new here, my name is Rich Podric, would come out lots of the different investments in the personal finance, entrepreneurship style videos. So if you are new here, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. Let's just jump right into this video. I wanted to make this video because after looking through my past videos over the past 12 13 months, I realized that I never quite made a video what I actually talked about the stocks that I actually own. Every month they talked about different stocks. I might have the interest in some of those. I'd ended up buying some of them. I'd ended up not investing into. So I thought I would share this with you. The top 5 stocks that makes up the average percentage of my investments portfolio. This is not including the mutual funds, ETFs, bonds, REITs, and any other type of the investments. We are only talking about individual companies here. Alright, so let's kick this off with my fifth average holding, and it's actually going to be Pfizer. And so I believe I mentioned Pfizer a few other times on this channel, probably when I was talking about dividends stocks, because it does pay the 3.9% dividend annually on their stocks, and so that's really one of the number one reasons why I got into the Pfizer. It's actually one of very first stocks that I ended up buying back in the probably 2010 2011 is when I first got into it, and since then it's gone from the road about 20s to mid 30s in terms of their stocks prices. So it's not the massive fast growing stocks, but it is one of the largest sectorial companies in the world, where their major competitors would be marked, which is actually looking pretty good at the moment. Maybe I'm gonna do a comparison sometimes. Maybe I will try to make the video next week's on the Mark versus Pfizer. But I always ended up promising some of these videos for the next weeks, and then I forget that I mentioned them. So maybe I should write this down, but I'm gonna try to make the video next week on Mark versus Pfizer, and different pharmaceutical companies and my views on them. But overall, Pfizer is pretty well diversified. They could certainly have some type of the breakout drug in the coming years. So that's my fifth largest holding. You might notice throughout this video that a lot of these companies that I'm going to be discussing are actually ones that are relatively stable, somewhat low beta companies that generally don't incur too much risk, because that's just personally how I invest. And no, I could get into some very risky investments and possibly make more money, but I could also lose more money. So I choose to go with stocks that are relatively stable companies, companies that will be here for the next few decades at least. So Pfizer is number 5. So my first largest holding actually going to be PepsiCo. I'm just going to sort of explain this. I like a bit here. I am not gonna to spend too much time on PepsiCo, though, because you're probably already familiar with Pepsi and what they do, but they actually have the $22 billion brand, multi-billion dollar brands that keep the co-holders. So this isn't only beverages. This is actually steaming into the snacks industry as well. So most times if you see the vending machines, a good chances that a good majority of those snacks in the vending machines are actually tied into the PepsiCo, like they owned Free-to-play, for example, and so they do have their hands in a lot of different areas, and I like that better than the Coca-Cola. Now, I know Warren Buffett is a very large investor in the Coca-Cola, but PepsiCo is one of that I think is a little bit more diversified, and we can get into the whole discussions of the stocks soft drinks industry and where that's going to in the future. I actually had to write the paper about it in a college in 2016 about the soda tax that Philadelphia was implemented, and how that's going to affect soda consumptions and sugary drink consumptions in that city. So there's been this moving trend towards implementing this soda tax. It's sort of that's they did with cigarettes, for example. If you go to the New York City, you will see the cigarettes are like the $15 a pack, and that's because they taxed the crap out of it. They taxed it so much, and that's kind of the what cities are moving towards with sugary drinks. They are trying to fight diabetes, and obviously by the just taxing the crap out of it, and just hoping that people won't buy because they won't be able to afford it. And there's all kinds of the different arguments going both ways. With this, it is a regressive tax systems, but the plan for it was to wean people off sugary drinks, but not only sugary drinks, that also includes sports drinks, diet sodas, and many other types of beverages, like the energy drinks, for example. And so that would certainly hurt companies like the PepsiCo and the Coca-Cola. If a lot of these companies, I mean Pepsi, Philadelphia is the fifth greatest city in the world, in the United States, and so the city like the Philadelphia is implementing this one, and half cents per ounce soda tax as on soft drinks, and they see it working. I mean, they raised 30 or 40 million dollars just in the first year from this soda tax. I think other cities might follow along in Philadelphia steps, and we saw that the overall soft drinks purchasing in the Philadelphia is the city of the Philadelphia dropped by the 55%. That's 55%. It dropped it almost in the half just from the soda tax. So that's certainly something that could affect PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, a lot of these soft drinks companies, a lot of these beverage companies, and so I think that could be the issue going forward, and that's why I have slight concerns for PepsiCo in the future. Like I said, though, I think if we see rise future, like I said, through I think if we see rise back in up to 150 and 120, I'm probably gonna sell some of it. I think there is some better opportunities out of this in some different companies. So I'm probably gonna sell a good majority of the PepsiCo if the chances percentage itself. But in the stocks drops up to 100, I do think I still worth it for myself to hold, because I don't think that there is still a considerable amount of the value within PepsiCo. So my third largest holding kind of has a little bit of the sentimental value to myself, and that's probably not a good idea to get attached to your stocks. So luckily though, I think I will be able to sell it pretty quickly if needed to be. But my third largest holding is the Fun After. That's what actually the trick for it is the Gather Fair Entertainment. This is the very first stocks that I ever bought. It was $12 a share in 2009. My very first stocks I paid $10 for the transactions fee on the trade to get $12 stocks. So that wasn't very bright on my side, but I didn't really know that was going on then. But since then, it's grown to roughly about 64 $6,400 a share, and the biggest reasons why I got into it was because of the dividends, and they are actually still paying about 5.5% dividends on their stocks. And so this is one that really made me the most amount of the money out of the all companies that I ever invested into. The calendar failed was the one that really helped me out the most, and so I poured that money into from 2009 to 2013. I was pouring almost all of my money just into that one stocks. They probably isn't a good idea. I did not diversify very much. My first few years about the calendar fair just actually kind of the workout for myself. And the reasons why I got into this, I think I've explained this in the couple of my other videos. And this is kind of the tip for beginners investors is to when you are looking for the company to invest into and you are just starting and you might not understand all the weird ratios and metrics that all over the balance sheets, and why not. And so if you are a little bit confused by that and you want to still invest into the company, I think the best method is to find a company where you are very close to them, in the sense of the either you know somebody who works there, as long as it's not the CEO or doing something insider tradings. You don't want to do that. But if you know somebody works there, they are employee, they kind of understand the company culture. Or another example that could be if you are using their products, you are very up to date on what the company is doing, to what the new products they are coming out with, where they are going to be in the 10 years. So that's the great road to take. That's what I did. We see the fair, it worked out for me, it would always work out for everyone. I sort of got a little bit lucky with that, with the stocks, because not only were they paying like the 6% dividend for the past 9 years, they have also grown from the $12 a share to 65 a share. So that was one that really worked out for me. I think at some point I might have ended up selling it, but right now the fundamental looks good on it, and I'm gonna hold it for the time being. So let's get into the last two holdings that I have at the moment. These are the two largest holdings that I have. So my second largest holding is Facebook. So they are been having a lot of the troubles lately, and that's not something you want to just sweep under the rug. I thought it was gonna be something that would sort of just blow over the pretty quickly with the whole Cambridge Analytics course scandal. In my opinion, when I first saw this out and the stocks dropped a good 10% in the first few days, I thought it was people overreacting, because in my mind I thought that people they overreacted to those news articles, and in reality I didn't think that people would stop using Facebook. I didn't think that Facebook revenue would drop, but Mark Zuckerberg and Channel Sandberg just said that revenue might be hit by this, and then just before making this video I logged on the CNBC, and I see that there's another issue that Facebook had with another company that said that they were doing surveys using it for the non-profit, where in reality they were selling it to the third-party partners. I think Facebook has a lot of the problems, and this time I'm gonna to continue holding, because I'm not dropping out of 150. I do think that this company is one that he is gonna succeed in a long time. I mean, they have billions of the people who use platforms, and I think it's somewhat comical in the sense that people they have this delete Facebook's moment, and they get mad at the Facebook, and they post on Facebook about how they are mad on Facebook, and then they say, oh, by the way, I'm moving to Instagram, and guess what? Facebook owns Instagram, and Instagram is a very popular platform, in my favorite social media platform. And if you're around and you take the surveys of the people, Instagram is most likely their favorite platform, and so it's definitely trendy up and common platforms. I don't know if it has quite a billion users yet, but it's right around that billion users mark. And so very popular. I'm still bullish on Facebook. I think that and the storm may get worse before it gets better, but I do think that in the long run that it's gonna to get better, so there's no point in myself selling at the moment. So my number one holding is PayPal, and my reasons behind it is pretty simple. So besides the fundamentals that are looking pretty decent, the primary reasons why I hold PayPal and it takes up the majority of my portfolio, it because of Venmo. This is an app that I'm very bullish and on, and so this is the mobile payment market. This is the very competitive area, and I think that Venmo really got the head start above anybody else, and I think that they are going to come out on the top with this. And so if you are not familiar with Venmo, it's essentially an app. It's kind of like PayPal, but it's more social and it's way easier to use. You can just send your friends money just like that. So I actually learned this when I went to the college, and everybody uses Venmo. Nobody uses cash to pay each other, like the cash doesn't even really exist on the campus, because everybody just Venmo each other's money, and it actually became developer. You can Venmo people money, and so it's very popular among millennials. Billions of the dollars are flowing through then through every single month. So it is very popular, and it's up and coming. I do really see that happening, and I think the biggest part that they need to do is to just continue to grow and then focus on the monetizations later on the road which they are being planning on doing. So that's the largest reasons why I own PayPal, not just because of the fundamentals, but because of the future growth of what I believe are their potential, is because the global mobile payment market is very very competitive. I think about the Apple Pay, Snapcash, which is just a joke. I don't know if anybody even knows about Snapcash. You can send money through Snapchat. Apparently, I've never used it. I have never met somebody who used it, but there's a lot of different apps. They are sort of coming out trying to compare with Venmo. But I think Venmo got it amazing head start. They have tens of the millions of the users in the United States using their apps. I know that the big banks are all backing this new app. It's Zelle. It's this the new platform of the payment through different banks. You can pay each other through that method, but I don't think that's going to be nearly as effective as Venmo. So these are my 5 largest holdings. Let me know down below what you think about these stocks. I want to hear your opinion. It's always great to hear the other people's ideas and opinions on these companies. These aren't necessarily bias. I am not going to be continuing to reinvesting into all of 5 of these companies. As I mentioned in this video, some of the companies I'm going to be winning off. Some of them I might be bulking up on more thought throughout the next few months. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, just don't forget to drop the like, subscribe if you haven't done already, and thanks someone for watching. Really do appreciate the support on this channel. I really do, guys. So I will see you next time.